pasuk at the end of this week's parasha Bereishis, says, "V'noach motza chen b'nei Hashem." Noach found favor in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which poses us with a slight problem. If Noach was to find favor in the eyes of Hashem, does that mean that he wasn't really deserving of it, but because he found favor, therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu did things for him which he wouldn't have done otherwise? If you have a look at the Bereishis towards the end of his piece, at the end of the Sedra, you'll see that he says a different understanding. He says there are certain mitzvahs which HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, and the purpose of those mitzvahs are that we should get chen from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That with those mitzvahs, by doing those mitzvahs, the schar of that is that we find favor by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So which are those mitzvahs? Says the Bereishis that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't let us know which ones they are, because if we would know which mitzvahs are the ones that are those with which we find chen by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we'd be busy doing those mitzvahs and only those mitzvahs in order that we would be able to have chen and thereby get all the skulas and things that we need from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. However, we need to do all the mitzvahs. Every mitzvah corresponds to another one of our machivarim and shasagidim, to our sinews and the bits of our body and bones, etc., which give us the spiritual injection that we need for ourselves. And therefore, since HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be involved in every one of the mitzvahs, he didn't tell us which ones are those with which we find favor in his eyes. However, Noach must have done one of those mitzvahs with which he found favor in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's eyes. So my Rabbi Chaim Kaufman, Zechat Tzaddik V'Rocha, whose yahrzeit was yesterday, would always say, you'll see a person through life, or one may see by oneself, where suddenly, with no reason that one can say in the near past that one can attribute one's success to, but one says, look, I see this person who suddenly has had a huge hatzlacha in something, or perhaps the person themselves finds they've had a massive hatzlacha in a particular thing, and they can't attribute it to anything in the near past. The answer is that perhaps one time they did a mitzvah, which that mitzvah was a type with which they were motzei be'enei Hashem. And years later, nothing gets lost, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put that away, and years later down the line, because that person had found favor in Hashem's eyes, they are now zocher to be ola l'gdula, to rise to something. So that's a way for us to begin the year, by looking at every opportunity that we get as a window of opportunity, because the mitzvah that has come our way might be the particular mitzvah with which we can find favor in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's eyes, and it's worthwhile therefore chapping our own in each one that we get.